Smackdown is in the mud. Where is everybody? There's no star power. This show is 3 hours, and bear in mind, yeah, it didn't even feel like it. But this is the go-home show before a PLE Saturday night's main event. Although it's a glorified house show, they claim it's a PLE. So why is there no premium content? This is the go-home show, and I just thought it was a random episode of Smackdown, and then realized, oh wait, there's a pay-per-view tomorrow. What? This is embarrassing, man. This is a joke. Where is everyone? Where's Randy Orton? Where is Cena? Where is Cody Rhodes? Where is Roman Reigns? You have no one. Fair enough, Kevin Owens got injured. You need to send someone to SmackDown, and this is emergency, man. This is full of jobbers. This is goofy. This is a joke. Let me run through this, and it's not going to be very long because nothing happened. There's absolutely nothing happening on the show, and people are having to pay for this. Netflix got bumped. There's no storylines. Who can tell me one storyline you're interested on SmackDown right now? There's no storylines, nothing compelling, nothing's progressing, nothing's happening. Nothing's happening for months. We got the same feuds going on for 6 months, 1 year. All jobbers. There's no stars here. Everyone's gone. This is a joke. It was 3 hours. So the show starts off with Damian Priest about to come out, and then Drew McIntyre brawls in backstage. Okay, cool. This has been going on for over a year now. This should have ended at WrestleMania. Priest legally pulled the ref out the ring. It's a no DQ match. It's a fatal 4-way. Everyone's incentivized to fight for themselves. Priest pulled the ref out the ring when Drew was trying to get the pin, and Michael Cole screamed in our ears saying he just screwed Drew again. No, he didn't. It's a fatal 4-way match. The only reason they made it sound like that is because they're going to drag this out for another few months because no one has anything to do. No one's creative enough to do something different. So they're still brawling. Tiffany comes out, probably one of the worst promos in the company right now, cuts a rubbish promo. Then Alexa comes out and teaches her how to cut a promo. Basically threatened her and said, oh, I cashed in on Nia Jax too, except the difference is I actually like Nia. I don't like you. And she said, your downfall is going to be as quick as your rise to the top like in the last year. Charlotte comes out. She does the same old stuff. Gets booed. Nobody likes her. But at least she's good as a heel. I like her cutting promos as a heel. But nothing's happening. Nothing's really happening. And then we go straight into the Money in the Bank qualifier. We've got Zelina, Julia, Charlotte, and Julia wins. Which is okay. But why did you have her go to Raw and lose for 4 weeks straight then? It doesn't make sense. No, they're just booking on the fly, you can tell. So why don't you just get drafted up to SmackDown, win a few matches, actually make people invested, and then go into Money in the Bank? Nobody cares anymore. You had a job out to Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, and then again in a tag match. And now we're meant to care. Oh, whatever, man. This is so silly. So silly. So yeah, she'll probably see Roxanne in Money in the Bank. I think Alexa's in Money in the Bank. It should be a good match either way. The wrestlers hopefully won't fail. And it's a ladder match. It's always good. But the build. This show is 3 hours. Then we have a DIY promo on Motor City Machine Guns and Fraxium. DIY is still talking about Motor City Machine Guns. They had a title match at the Rumble, which was in January, February. And then it's now June. We're entering June. And this is still going. Change it up. Do something. Do something different. Then we have Tommaso Ciampa versus Chris Sabin. Nothing really happens. Candice LeRae joined and interfered and hit not Johnny Gargano, Alex Shelley probably. And then Ciampa won off the distraction. This probably saved LeRae's job because they had her not showing up on TV, and we know what happens to people in WWE who fall into that category. So hopefully that saves her job, which is nice. She can be with her husband too. But does anyone really care? Does anyone really care? I don't think I've ever heard Candice LeRae speak. Does anyone does this the ground shattering? Does this count as progress in a rivalry or a feud or a story or a development? No one cares. This is a joke. This is jobber after jobber after jobber because all the stars are gone. Everyone takes holiday in WWE now. This show is 3 hours long and we're meant to stay invested the whole time. Priest enters the ring because he's meant to now cut a promo, and then Drew McIntyre comes out and brawls him again. There's no creativity. You're just wasting time to get to this. This is a go-home show, supposedly. We're just filler after filler after filler, and we're just trying to fill 3 hours at this point and wait for the stars to come back. Where was Orton? You can't find something to do for Randy Orton? You can't give Carmelo Hayes more than just a 5 minute, 5 minutes is very generous. 1 minute backstage promo with The Miz? What are we doing? What are we doing? You couldn't have even had like a Miz TV or something. Give someone who's good at their job time to show that. Miz is good on the mic. Give him Miz TV. Do something. Then we have a bunch of useless backstage segments. Then we got one with Jacob Fatu and Solo backstage. He says, I don't trust JC, Jeffrey, whatever his name is. I still don't know who the guy is. We're just recycling bloodline stories, which we've seen. We oversaw that last year. We saw way too much of that last year, and we're still going. How is the Bloodline 2 or Bloodline not over yet? No creativity. We're just doing the same stuff as last year. Jacob doesn't trust JC. Surprise, surprise. He didn't want Solo's help at Backlash. And then the segment ends. Useless. Nobody cares. And we get ready for this. This is Jobber City. B-Fab and Meechin versus the Secret Hervis. Meechin and Chelsea have been feuding for about 10 months. This should have been over a long time ago. B-Fab and Meechin versus the Secret Hervis doesn't make this any more exciting. This makes it even worse. Just let go and move on. Give people stuff to do. Rotate. Change storylines. Even WWE 2K has better storyline than this. WWE 2K in GM mode teaches you that if you get them to a rivalry level 4, which means that you have 4 matches between an existing rivalry, so that could happen in 4 weeks. After that, the rivalry ends automatically, or it ends after a pay-per-view, and then you can't put them back together, or it penalizes you because the rivalry is on cooldown. And we're going for 8 months, not between any superstars, between jobbers. Just gonna play GM mode at this point. And we have a Los Garzas and Santos Escobar promo. Why does the WWE expect us to care when these guys are barely on TV, barely wrestle, barely have any matches, doesn't have a storyline? They ain't had a storyline. They might have had they brought Mexicans every now and then. That's all they do. Now they're giving a promo about, they're bickering internally. They're having a bit of civil war. And then Escobar says, okay, you got a match at AAA Forbidden Door, whatever the copied pay-per-view name is. Worlds Collide, maybe. Does anyone care? Does anyone really care? We're just filling the show. And this show had so many promos from Raw, so many recaps of Raw. So you had a bunch of backstage segments, bunch of recaps from Raw, just filling up time, not progressing anything, not making any sense, not making any storylines. Useless. If the show can't be 3 hours, move it. Why did you go to 3 hours in the first place? I know they're going to go back to 2 in a bit, but thank God. Because there's no star power and nothing happening on these shows. Nothing. If you're making it 3 hours, but the extra hour is full of garbage anyway, full of backstage segments that don't mean anything. And we have Jacob and JC versus Ray and Jimmy. Why? First of all, why is Ray Phoenix involved with the Bloodline now? See, they have nothing to do. They don't know what to do with people. Ray Phoenix is in this match for some reason. Fatu wins. Okay, moving on. R-Truth cuts a promo on John Cena. And then this is the point where I remember that this is, oh my God, this is the go-home show. There's a pay-per-view tomorrow. So this whole build, we're having pay-per-views every 3 weeks. This whole build started at Backlash when R-Truth got put through a table. And Cena hasn't been here at all. We had an interview with R-Truth with Wade Barrett. We had a promo from R-Truth now, which was meaningless. He just said, I'm going to win. Did he say anything useful? That's basically it. Cena, you're not the real Cena, I guess. Useless. And it's not R-Truth's fault. What's he supposed to do on his own? He shouldn't be in this position anyway. The only way he can be in this position is with a proper build. And Cena's not here. The booking's not here. The creativity's not here. They could have found a way to get R-Truth to build this. And he only had 2 weeks or 3 weeks since Backlash. This is embarrassing, man. You're just using him as a cash cow. You're not even trying to hide it anymore. You snaked New Orleans WrestleMania because you're trying to go somewhere where you can charge people 50 grand and you get celebrities in. It's not hard difficult to work out. You're using Cena as a cash cow. You're having pay-per-views every 2 weeks, so you're not going to build anything. You need to get Cena's name there, and you're going to sell merch every time he shows up in a different city, which is why the heel turn is, you try to justify it with the heel turn, saying you get nothing, but we all know why you're doing it. So the rivalries are suffering. The title reign is suffering. Cody Rhodes has already suffered. This is a joke. What an absolute waste of time, you money hungry. Look, if you need money that bad, make the product good and people will start watching the show. That's a solution. How about you just make it good? And then get money that way. Instead, you're just milking it and giving us a bad product and milking John Cena. What's going to happen when John Cena leaves? You're screwed. You're screwed. And we have LA Knight, Aleister Black and Nakamura has showed up again for some reason in a Money in the Bank qualifying match. LA Knight wins, yeah, which is good. LA Knight deserves it. He's been carrying the mid card on Smackdown for a very long time. They should have capitalized him a lot longer. They've dragged this out, but good for him. He's in Money in the Bank. Will he win? I kind of want Carmelo Hayes to win if he gets in. Is he qualified? There's a qualifying match next week. Hopefully he's in. I don't know why Aleister Black had to lose, though. I'm sure there could have been a spot for him. He's joined, and he's meant to be this big deal, and they fed Carmelo Hayes to him. They fed The Miz to him, and now he's not going to be in Money in the Bank. What's the point? Why didn't you just have him elevate Carmelo Hayes then, who's been busting his ass wrestling almost every week since he came up on the roster a year ago? Nothing makes sense. We get another backstage segment. Nick Aldis just shows up and says, Jacob Fatu, you're in Money in the Bank qualifier next week. So Solo's already in Money in the Bank, so there's probably going to be some kind of, maybe they're going to, quotation marks, accidentally cost him the match, causing a bit of friction there. And yeah, that's what's going to happen. What's the point in qualifying for Money in the Bank, by the way? Because people can just go up to world champions and ask for a title match, or get put through tables and get given a title match, or talk to Paul Heyman and get given a title match, or beat up Pat McAfee and get given a title match. What's the point of qualifying for Money in the Bank anyway? Why don't you just do it the easy way? Why don't you just talk to someone? See what I mean? This is a cinematic universe. It's all meant to make sense, and nothing makes sense. Useless. And we have SmackDown Tag Team Championships, which didn't make it to the pay-per-view. Didn't make it to WrestleMania. Didn't make it to the pay-per-view. A glorified house show pay-per-view. Fraxia versus the Street Profits. It ends in a DQ. That's what you should think about these championships. They don't mean anything, so you shouldn't care about it. Your main event of SmackDown ends in a DQ because the Wyatt Six, who haven't been on TV for months, interfered and beat the piss out of everyone. What? Does anyone care? Why are people meant to care? They haven't been on TV for so long. What happens now? You're going to have the spooky horror gimmick win the tag team titles? It doesn't work. It doesn't make sense. These guys are just here for a cheap pop. There's nothing happening, no star power. And if you're going to have a return like that and end it in a DQ, you could have done it at the pay-per-view. You could have respected the championships, put it on the pay-per-view, respected the profits, put it on the pay-per-view, and you would have had a return at the pay-per-view. That would have been, something memorable for what is obviously going to be a bad show. I'm sick of this, man. SmackDown is in the mud. It's in the mud.